Hi, it's Steve again. Welcome to another one of my videos on my experiences with the Arduino Uno. As anyone that watched my previous video would remember, I was experimenting with using this keypad as a form of input in order to output to a debug console via serial port. Now this circuit I've done here also, as you can see, uses this keypad again. Same circuitry as last time in the key input code project I had done previously. This time what I've done, as you can see, I've added this piezoelectric sounder. Now this one here, I'll demonstrate what this does. Okay, you don't expect to play Beethoven's, whatever he called his music. I'm not into Beethoven, so I couldn't name any of those, but it just basically does these tones. As you remember, in the previous video I actually programmed it as in a way so that the key would only work just once until you let go and press it again. Well, obviously in this circuit here, I've actually reprogrammed it to keep an output live when I've actually holding my finger on any one of these given buttons. Now, as for the code, if you just excuse me a sec, I'll just focus this on the screen. Now with this one, if you remember in the last video I did, this piece of code here was originally had another array called keys, and there was also one which actually showed the key state, so that when you push the key, it would get on the keypad, it would get the relevant key character from the keys map array, and also put a 1 in place of the 0 in the key status, so that the program would then know not to do anything until you let go and that equals 0 again, so that you don't end up with long strings of characters being fired out every time you push a key. Well, obviously in this one I've actually removed that, and I've now replaced the characters, the keys character array with this array here. Works exactly the same way, apart from this one uses integers, and each one of these numbers here is actually a tone value. Like, so for when you press, say, key number 2, you would get 260 hertz coming out of the sounder. Now the only other change I've made on this, just bear with me a second, I'm going to just scroll this down. It sets up the pins exactly the same way as it did before. The only piece of code I've really changed is where I had the function get key before, I've now got one called get tone. It's sort of, I'd say, the same as the original get keys, but as I said, it doesn't actually take into account whether or not you've already pushed the key or not. It just, by brute force, gets the status of whatever one of those keys is pushed down, gets the status from the pin, and obviously returns the actual. In here you got this part here, where before I had had a char number which actually you actually loaded the value into. Well, in this one you got an integer. You then load the note when you're making the input pin go live, go positive. So you basically load in the frequency number from the tones array into note, and then at the end, when you exit this function, you're actually returning that note. So if nothing was pushed, it would return absolutely bugger all, and you wouldn't get anything out. So it goes quiet, and it just runs this piece of code every time the loop is gone through, and as I say, returns a value back to, hang on, if I just go back up here again, right, what the bloody I'll do with it, right, that's, and I'll put it here somewhere. Right, yeah, as you see here, I've got this part here. Sorry, because I'm holding the camera at the same time, and I'm getting that orange blob in my face. I'm having troubles finding stuff on this screen. But yeah, this line of code here basically gets a value from get tone. If the key is held down, it will have a value. If not, it will just be blank. So if it's not blank, so if note, you basically you basically set the pin with the tone function with that actual output note, and then that will then play the sound through the sounder. And at the same time, I've told it to light the onboard LED. If I come back here and I say press number 5 on the board, you'll see the light LED coming on and off, like going on off as I press it. Obviously when you let go it goes dead. But yeah, I mean, completely useless, just my curiosity. As I say, this is my experience on learning with an Arduino, so I don't expect this to, let's say, be anything sort of highly useful. It just paves the way, shows you, if you're not familiar with this device, sort of what you can do. This is basically what my videos are aiming to do. As I'm learning this myself, anyone that's having the same experience as me, like learning, they can, hopefully they'll be able to learn from this. I'm also going to point out, this sounder, you don't have to use one of these. I mean, this was just a cheap, well, it wasn't even cheap. I actually swagged this out of an old microwave. Like, my old microwave went pop one day and it sat down the shed, and one day it got stripped and this happened to be inside it, so it ended up in my box of stuff, for want of a better word. So I'm going to unplug this anyway to show you don't actually have to have one of those. You can, if you want, use one of these, a basic old kind of PC speaker. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plug this back in. That goes to the ground pin here. So I'll put that back in now, and then this goes to pin number 12 as it was before with the sounder, and you'll get a better sound out of it. Obviously a bit more bassier than that little squeaky thing that I had in there, that piezo buzzer thing that I've got. Well, it's not a buzzer, it's actually a sounder. To be a buzzer, it needs circuitry so it can buzz. I'm going to, in one of my other videos, I will be actually turning this into like a siren, I've actually done the circuit, done the code. I've just got to make a video on that and then upload it at a later date. But yeah, as I say, it's just a play around thing, complete and utter load of bollocks to anyone else that happens to be highly experienced. But for someone who just wants to have a bit of a laugh with this thing and just muck around with stuff like this, I suppose, like yourself, you could say instead of one of these keypads, you could get these little tactile switches, little push buttons. I bought 100 of these off of eBay for £1, which ain't bad. I mean, like, you can't grumble at that. I mean, £1. I mean, what does a £1 get you nowadays? Absolutely sod all, isn't it? But these things, they make them obviously by the thousands of each and every hour of the day, and they sell them in bulk. I mean, they also fit into these boards quite easily. Like, you don't have to push too much on them. Like, it'll go straight in there, and yeah, that will actually, you put your wiring in there. The way these are wired up, if I can actually get a bit closer in there, whenever you want to use one of these switches, what you've got to remember is they come in pairs. Now, these two this side are separate, but dead opposite, they are electrically connected. So if you was to connect one wire on this, any one of these rows of pins with this pin and one on the opposite side, the button will always be on. Do it crossways and it'll be off and only work when you push down. Let's say I'll save that one for a later date, when I do my next video. As I say, I'll probably do the siren and then later on show you. I've got also another circuit I've built already, and obviously, and already done a program, a sketch for the Arduino for that as well. That one actually, when you push this button once, it makes the onboard LED come on, and you push it again, it goes off. So as if you bear with me, I will, as say, be loading up those two videos pretty soon. Looking forward to it. Hope you enjoyed my video. That's it for now. As I say, get yourself one of these things if you can and have fun. Thanks for watching.